Welcome back to the Adventure Paradox podcast. I have been following this gal for a little while. I don't know if I have ever interviewed an animal telepath before, but here she is now. We have Karen Wickerson with us. I'll give a full introduction in a moment, but Karen, can you tell me where in the world you're coming from and how are you today?
I'm doing great, Kat. Thank you so much for having me here. I am in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada.
Love it. You
Yes.
are also, you hold a master's degree in applied behavioral science. You're a retired family clinical counselor who now devotes your life to giving animals a voice, making a difference in their lives, and enhancing the lives of their humans. Wow. And I love that you live with your husband, okay, and your two cats, Curious and Tenderfoot.
Yeah.
What are they like and how did those names come into being? Because they're just so juicy.
Well, Curious's name came to me about 20 years before I even had her. I just knew that I was going to have a black cat. Her name was going to be Curious, and I just had to wait.
Mm.
I didn't know how that was going to happen. No clue. And then 20 plus years later, I was volunteering with the Vancouver Orphan Kitten Rescue Association in Vancouver, called VOCRA for short. And I was talking to the rescued uh, animals, the cats there, and they were telling me their street names or their names that they were given or the preferred names that they wanted to be known as. I would explain to them why they were in the shelter, where they were going after the shelter into fosters. I would explain the whole process so they were more grounded and more secure and confident to be more easily adopted. And then I heard about being able to foster myself, and I said, "Hey, honey." And he says, "Oh, here we go. This is going to lead to having cats in the house." I said, "No, no, 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 no. We're just going to foster. That's it. We're going to foster." Well, I fostered about 20 kittens, and then Tenderfoot and Curious came to us with four of their other litter mates.
Mm.
And Tenderfoot was the sickest. She was only, she was a tiny, tiny little thing. She was about 100 grams at only, I think, 6 weeks old. Like she was
Mm.
so tiny thing. Meanwhile, Curious was 3 times her size at that age, and they came from a hoarder situation.
Mm.
27 other cats. So that's what they were rescued from. And Tenderfoot tried to die on us a few times, and I used homeopathic remedies. It worked, kept doing energy work on her, and it kept building her system from the inside out with that life chi force that was strengthening all of her cells. And we adopted out the four other cats, but Curious and Tenderfoot were meant to stay with us.
Mm.
Tenderfoot, how her name came about, was that the sick little kitten just reached out to me with her little paw, reaching out, like, "You've got the tenderest little foot." I said, "That's it, you're Tenderfoot."
Oh,
I know, right?
sweet. Well,
Totally.
and it's like so intimate because that little tender foot of the kitten, right? And that, hey, I want to connect with you moment
Yes.
as a human is, receiving that connection. And I've been
Yes.
doing a lot of research about historically how long we've connected with different kinds of domestic animals, which is kind of
Mm-hmm.
amazing to think about,
Mm-hmm.
5 or 6,000 years with horses, 12,000 years with dogs, and
Wow.
16,000 years with cats, right? So
Yes.
the like deep ancestral connection to just being with each other. And, I've had some epiphanies of late that when we have an animal and we feed them and care for them and bond with them and exercise with them and do all the things, go through sicknesses, injuries, illness, all the things.
Yes.
And we make this incredible life, but then there's this other level when we support them in having babies and keeping their babies alive, but also witnessing them supporting our children growing up, and
Yes.
them pulling on the tail as a toddler and then later
Yes.
carrying them when they're an old cat. And I would just love to hear, how did this work come into being? Because it's so beautiful, this connection and this incredible work that you're doing. Because I know you had a history, you worked as a clinical counselor, and then
Yes.
it shifted. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you got into this work.
Well, that's a really good question. I remember connecting to animals since I was 3 years old. So that started on a horse, and immediately I knew that, oh wow, I'm I meant to have this heart. It was just so visceral. A 3-year-old can't
Mhm.
describe that other than how it deeply felt in my heart. Like I felt like a part of him, right? Like
Mhm.
you are a part of me. I am a part of you. There was this deep connection. And then I just started talking to animals like, hey, how are you? Or my friends' animals would say something and I would repeat that to their humans. This was the 1970s. So my friend's parents was like, that's interesting. Here's crazy Karen. We don't know what to do with this information. So my parents lovingly said, hey, people don't quite understand this, and you may just want to hold back.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, why? Like, I just couldn't understand that, right? So
Yeah.
over the decades, I did suppress it and suppressed it and suppressed it. And I was able to start seeing energy and working with energy in my mid-teens. I did healing touch for people. And then I did my bachelor's and my master's degree. And around 2012, I could see the writing on the wall because I was specifically working with children who are at risk of being removed from their homes for a myriad of reasons.
Mm.
And I was quickly about to hit the wall, and I knew I was going to make a severe mistake with a family. And I had to plan my exit strategy, right? And I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I needed to exit. So in 2012, I say to my husband, I want to go to base camp Mount Everest. He's laughing at me because I'm a couch potato, but I always had this knowing that this is what I was meant to do. So we did. We spent 3 weeks in Nepal getting acclimated, and at 70% lung capacity and chronic asthmatic, I had to do the training and all of that. And so we went to base camp and we went down. And through that whole journey, I realized um, I always have a choice along the way,
Mm.
and I will always get to where I want to go, no matter how long it took. And there is nothing that I cannot do unless I actually choose not to do it. So when I say I can do that, I know I can. And if I say I choose not to do it, then I choose not to do it. But there's no such thing as I can't. So taking all that information and me processing through it when you're trekking through the Himalayas, come back to Vancouver. And I said, you know what? I am going to start working with energy work with animals. And there's an actual thing called Healing Touch for Animals out of Colorado. And I started doing all the classes through that, and to learn how to get energy to move through animals' bodies for trauma, for
Mm.
behavioral issues,
Mm.
for competition. I mean, there's 30 plus some odd techniques that I use in the work that I do. And through that, all of the conversations in the animal consciousness, I connected really quickly, because when you work with energy, you kind of you're turning on all the lights in your
Mm.
system, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, the animal started talking to me again, over and over and over. And I'm like, I couldn't contain it. And it came to one instance where I was working with the horse, and I put my hands into the horse's energy field. All of a sudden, and I was quite happy when I got to the barn, and all of a sudden I've got tears streaming down my face,
Mm.
this grief-stricken horse, and kept saying, my baby was stolen from me. My baby was stolen from me. I didn't get to say goodbye. And I turned to the human and I said, what happened? And they said, she was sold. And I said, but did anybody tell mama this? That she would never see her baby again? And they said, no. I said, you need to explain what's going on here, because her grief is so deep. So that's one example on how animal telepathy and communication with their animals is so important, that the animals need to know what's happened to their babies. Where are you going when you're traveling? You can't just take off. And they
Yeah.
worry for our well-being, and they do grieve. Maybe not like the way humans grieve, but they grieve in their hearts and they do cry. So that was my real first, holy smokes, I've got to do this. By this time it's 2013. 2014, I did my certification in healing touch for animals. In 2015, in the fall, I said bye-bye to my clinical counseling practice. And I started full time doing the work that I do now. And it's been incredibly rewarding knowing that I'm giving animals and their humans a peace of mind.
Mm, so powerful. And what a story. Like I'm there with you on Everest. I'm right there and all these mantras are coming through and then you're having this connection with this horse and I'm so curious like as you do your work, is it in person? Can you do work virtually? Is it always in real space? How do you
Yeah,
manage
it's always on Zoom.
that?
I
Hmm.
have clients as far away as Australia, Sweden, Germany, England, and all through North America. So energy doesn't acknowledge or understand time or distance because energy is everywhere all at once. And all I'm doing is connecting to the energy signature of that animal. Like we have fingerprints, we're all individual in terms of our fingerprints. We are individuals with our energy signature.
Mm,
So I can talk to animals in spirit as well as in distance because it's like a ripple effect. You put a pebble in the lake and it wouldn't stop going. Like it just
mm.
continues outwards, right? So that's what
Mm.
energy does.
Ooh, so good. That's so good. I'm thinking now about that life transition, and I've had a
Mhm.
lot of very unusual spiritual experiences around animal transitions.
Mhm.
And I also feel like there's something very sacred in those first 40 days on the other side, they're sort of the veil is thinner. What are your thoughts about that, or any experiences connecting with one of our beloveds passing over?
Great question. I have learned over the course of the last few years what it's like for animals when they die. And this actually, the first time this happened, I can't remember exactly when, probably around 2017, if I was to guess. I was working with a very good friend of mine's dog. She says, Karen, you got to come. Her name was Digby. Digby, we're in emergency and we're going to have to let her go. And I've known her since she was a puppy and
Mhm.
she was probably about
Mm.
9, a big dog. She was a Labradoodle. And so I got to emergency and she says, can we please talk to her before she leaves? I said, absolutely. So I connected to Digby and her mom and dad were just crying. And she said, Karen, I don't understand why mom and dad are crying. I'm like, really? I said, why not? She goes, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just taking off my coat. I'm like, what? And she says, do you cry when you take off your raincoat? And I'm telling this to her mom and dad. And they're like, what? And so this was the aha moment for me. It's like they're just literally unzipping their coat, taking it off, and moving out of something that doesn't work for them anymore. And then the images that I kept getting over the years is that it's like, well, after you've sewn up or darned up old socks or sweaters, at some point you have to give it up.
Mm,
And so Digby was the first one who taught me that they're just walking out of their fur coat. Their essence isn't going anywhere. They are always with us. It's just that our physical 3D bodies don't see them. We can't feel them. We can't smell them. We can't hear them. So this is the illusion of the veil, right? It's an
mm,
illusion.
mm,
It's not real.
mm,
It's just that our physical bodies don't allow for that. So our grief is out of the true belief that they are gone. Once they're gone, they're gone. Well, what's gone is the experience of that little personality for that particular form, not understanding or having that understanding that the soul is the true essence that is chosen to be with you in this lifetime, in this particular form. I had a client yesterday, and he does a lot of traveling with his little tiny 5-pound dog. And he says, why, like, was she in other life forms? I said, oh yeah, she's been your horse. And she pipes up, she says, I couldn't travel with you as a horse in this lifetime because how would I fit on the planes? You and I were supposed to be traveling the world together. So what the souls do is that they choose the life forms that they want to be in and experience in
Mm,
with their human.
mm,
So we have these soul contracts, right? And we work them out with our animals when they're going to be coming into our life, in what situation, what they're going to be experiencing, what the animal souls are going to learn and expand, and how the human's soul is going to learn and expand, and then their exit point. And it's been absolutely remarkable to hear all their stories of why they left when they left.
mm,
Meanwhile, maybe one of the people, one of, say, I don't like calling human pet owners. Pets have a negative connotation of ownership, and we are walking in tandem with the animals together in partnership. So this one animal was saying, my human, I need to tell her that she made the right choice in letting me go through euthanasia. She may
mm,
have thought it was too early, but it wasn't. I was suffering and I needed to let go of this body. And the reason being is because she needed to learn how to forgive herself for something she'd never done wrong. She never did
mm,
anything wrong. So
mm,
sometimes we question ourselves as the humans. Did we put them down too early? Did we leave it too late? Should I
mhm,
have let them die on their own? And the animals want humans to know you make the right decision when you're meant to make it, because you're not making the decision on your own. The animals are already prepping you through your dreams and your sleeping state. They're helping you to make that agreement to come to that place. So this is one of the biggest messages that animals want us to know. The decision you make is not wrong. It's always right, period.
mm, mm. Wow. That's a mic drop right there.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, I'm thinking right now, and I love what you said because I also feel like pet owner, not quite right. It's like it's I mean, it almost feels like a marriage. Like it's such a soul contract, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, with
I
each.
love that. It's like a marriage. It's a partnership. It's companionship. They're my friends. My cats are my friends. They're my daughters. They're this,
Yeah.
they have been with me from lifetimes after lifetimes after lifetimes in different forms, and is so close to our hearts. I mean, and I think for those of us who have those deep, deep connected relationships, we know they
Mhm.
are way more than just a pet or an
Oh
animal. No.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, a conversation I know I've had repeatedly with guests is, you know, why am I grieving more? It hurts more when I
Mhm.
lose an animal versus a human, right?
Yeah.
And I think so much of it is that they are so much a part of our day to day. And often humans, even if it's a blood relative or whoever it is, we're not in the same space
No.
sharing, whereas
Yes.
our animal family, we are. And something that's come up for me recently, which I'd love to hear your thoughts on. And we've been talking about idioms. The last one we talked about a bunch of horse idioms because she wrote a whole book on it, right? But recently, I had someone calling me about something, and I found myself thinking, I don't have a dog in that fight.
Mm.
And then I was like, huh, where did that come from? And I was kind of thinking about it, and I was thinking about it ironically because there was a situation where a certain person actually did have a dog in a certain fight, and
Okay.
there were repercussions and a $400 medical bill, and
I
the
can
whole thing.
imagine.
So I was thinking
Yeah.
about that, and then today there was a little bit of like a dog fight thing.
Mm.
And I was thinking about it and I was thinking about like that expression. But my question for you is like, what's it like for the animal? Because so often, the animals are working something out, but it's the
Yes.
humans and what we're saying about it and like applying this whole other layer of meaning, like, we should be sad right now, you're dying. And the
Mhm.
animal's like, I'm just taking my coat off, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that such a different perspective. So the same with, fighting, we got in trouble. What are your thoughts about that kind of animal behavior? Or if you have any thoughts on the idiom, don't have a dog in that fight.
Yeah. So, if you're talking about actually animals fighting with each other, yeah, there's reasons. There's multitude of reasons why they would.
Hmm.
And there's multitude of reasons what would trigger an animal to fight. And so when I'm working with a dog and they've attacked another dog or another person, it's like, what's going on? I'm able to project my mind into their body. What
Mm,
is it? What's
mm,
happened?
yeah.
So it could be a human that triggers them. It could be trauma that triggers them. It can be like another dog that reminds them of a dog that previously bit them. And now where I'm aggressive to a
Yep.
bigger dog because it was a bigger dog that bit me.
Yeah.
And so I have to do trauma work and energy release work to help them come back into their body, into their prefrontal cortex, quieten the amygdala down, quieten the adrenal glands down, and
Mhm.
help them get grounded and focused and knowing that they will always be safe.
Mm,
Now,
mm,
if you've got two cats like mine, yes, they're biological sisters. They don't really give themselves a time of day. And sometimes they'll fight. And I'm like, why did that just happen? Well, she's throwing energy darts at me and you can't see them. Well, no, I can't, but you can tell me and I will believe you. So there's sometimes a lot of fighting in the home.
uh-huh.
It's like, okay, who threw the energy darts first? She did because I ate her breakfast or whatever it is. It's like sometimes I feel like I am living with 5-year-old little kids, right? They've got their own banter going.
Right? Oh my
So
gosh.
the reason I bring this up is because if you've got if you're a multi-animal home and they're fighting, but it seems like it's just one animal
Mm,
that's fighting with everyone. My question is, what's going on with all the other animals that are making that one particular one act out? That just may be
mhm.
the lightning rod.
Mm,
So, what I love about my training as a clinical counselor in family systems, I get to look at the whole picture and I have a very clear understanding of what's going on, and I get to apply that to the animal telepath energy work that I do.
mm,
And then I do a lot of negotiations amongst the animals and then amongst the animals and their humans. So I'm
mm,
mediating a lot.
mm.
I
So
don't know
good.
if that answered your question.
It does, it does, it absolutely does. And I think two things I'm thinking about. One is like the space of herd work right now. So working with a
Mm,
herd of horses or like a group
right,
of animals is, I
right.
mean, horse therapy in general and equine assisted coaching is just it's having a moment. I don't know if you saw Vogue magazine did a whole article about it this week. It's a very big deal.
I haven't. I'll take it out,
Gotta
check it out
check it out.
for
It's,
sure.
it's really having a moment. And I'm thinking about my herd because I have my alpha gelding and
Mhm.
he slays the other two. And the story I think is going on is, we took this second gelding on later. And so a little competition for the mare, right? Everybody's
Oh
got a
yeah.
girlfriend. But then the two of them he lived at our neighbors for a year and would go on rides with us, and the two of them had a real magnetism where he's like, gosh, can you leave it? And she'd be all over him, kicking him when she's in heat and stuff. So I think Jet's a little bit jealous, and he's always had this like deep jealousy, and it's really interesting. And so I'm just curious, what kind of work you've done in herds, and it sounds like you've done quite a bit, but
Yes.
like those dynamics. And I think the other question I have for Jet, because I've kind of been in the space of, hey, you need to be nice. Like that's, I'm coming from the space of like, I appreciate you're upset I'm walking this one out, but you can't lunge and bite right now. Like,
Right.
and a term I use with my kids a lot is like, that's not acceptable behavior. Like,
Right.
I
Yes.
understand you're having really big feelings, but you can't hit or I will leave. How do
Yes.
you work through some of those like bigger emotions coming out and working through them? It sounds like you really check in with them and have a conversation or a message come through. Do you
Absolutely.
any other thoughts about like using physical space or voice or because it's all energy, and Jet and I have done a lot of energy work in the 15 years we've been together,
I
near and
believe you.
far. But yeah, I'm just curious, like sort of the connection to all senses as you do this work.
Hmm. Yeah. So um when it comes to the big feelings of animals, I listen to them.
Hmm.
A lot of them say, "But you can talk to us, you can hear us," So all of a sudden they'll just blurt everything and just slime me with their emotions. And that's okay. And I'm speaking at speed to their humans so they understand what's happening, right?
Mm,
And I'll give you a perfect example. Um, the mom say she's got a couple of 5, 6, 7 year olds, and there's a dog the family dog who they absolutely love. And the dog is starting to growl. And moms can't understand. It's like, hey, you can't like being strict with the dog, being firm with the dog. Like, why are you growling? Why are you baring your feet, your teeth, to the kids? They're really upset and they're afraid that the dog's going to bite.
Mm,
And so I just give the dog the space. And he was explaining their hands are on me all the time. I have tried to communicate by walking away and they follow me. I have tried to turn my body away and they keep grabbing at me. And I
mhm,
don't have my space. I need my space. I can't have
mhm,
these hands all over me all the time with the tumbling and the roughhousing and then the scratching. And he said, sometimes I just don't want to be touched. So I don't know
mm,
how else to tell my humans to move the little humans away from me. So then
mm,
we talk about, okay, where in the house can your dog or your cat go that it's theirs only? Well, sometimes it's
yeah.
their crate. Sometimes it's a closet in the mom's room or somebody's room, or just somewhere in the basement that they can have their bed. And then just explain to the kids, hey, when, Spot is walking away, leave him alone. Let him go.
Mm,
And if he's
mm,
in that spot that we designate just for him, leave him alone. Do not go near him. He's saying, I've had enough. Love you guys. Gotta check out. I'm done.
yeah. Yeah.
Right. Um, so there's another one in my book that I wrote about how this cat was witnessing a lot of verbal and emotional abuse from the husband to the wife, and it was stressing the cat out. So if you imagine you've got the two fighting and you've got huge energy in the
Mm,
house, the
mm,
cat, it's overwhelming for the cat and try to absorb and transmute that energy into peace and calm. All of a
mm,
sudden is hiding under the bed, like overload. I can't stand this. I get the call. And basically, the cat just swears and just blasts the mom. How can you put yourself and me in this position?
mm,
How can you do that to us? And
mm.
I'm talking about major swearing and calling the mom on her crap.
Ooh.
And I don't remember all the details because it's not my conversation to remember or to have. I record and then send the recording. Um, but I got permission from this person and she took it all in. She took it
Mm,
all in and she made adjustments. And the cats are now out and they're now enjoying life in the home.
mhm,
And
mhm.
so, as long as we give the space to hear them and take them seriously, that's one of the points here, Kat, is that we have to take our animals' preferences, needs, desires seriously. Just
Absolutely.
because they do not have the ability to use words so we can understand doesn't mean they're not sentient beings, because they are. And we have to take them seriously.
Oh, so, so good. Um, you just mentioned your book. I know before we started
Oh,
recording, you also mentioned that you are a reluctant author. Can you tell us
yes.
a little bit about your book and why you're reluctant?
Well, that's through the education background that I had. I have mild dyslexia, which made learning to read and writing and comprehension difficult. Also, I don't know what the technical name is, but it was diagnosed with outward processing deficiency, where I understand everything, but to be able to explain it
Mm,
through writing or through oral has been very difficult. So growing up in the 70s and 80s, I just thought I was dumb. And I didn't know from one year to the next if I was going to make it to the next grade, because that was a time when kids were held back. They were failed, right? And held back in those grades.
right.
Um, so writing, I've never really enjoyed journaling. And yet I did my master's degree. And I was given accommodations in order to do the work that I needed to do to receive the master's in clinical counseling. But what happened over the last 5 years, that both my mom and my husband were unrelenting. And did you write that story down? Oh, well, you remember the cat story. Did you write that? Did you write that down? Did you write? I'm like, oh, for heaven's sakes, no, stop it already. Right. And then all of a sudden I felt my soul over the last 2 years, my soul's calling was pulling me forward. If you can imagine the
Mm,
soul popping out, it's like
mhm,
popping out and pulling me forward, saying, "You're writing this book."
mhm,
I'm like, "Oh,
mhm.
hell no, I'm not writing a book." And then I ended up writing this book because I remembered and I was told by my guides that you're not writing this book, the animals are. So I sat in front of the computer and it was like auto typewriting, like the messages were coming through and I was just writing and typing out everything they were saying. And then I found an amazing um, publishing coach and I said, "Here you go. Here's my mess of stuff." And she put me in touch with an outstanding editor, and we made some sense of it. And it's called Listen to Your Animals. They Know More Than You Think. And it won the San Francisco Book Festival in the nonfiction category and runners up in both the Paris and the New York book festivals.
Of course it did. Can you show us the book? I know you have it there.
I do. It's I've got a blurred background,
Look,
so
Danny. Oh, yeah.
there you go.
Listen to your animals. They know more than you think.
Hi. Hi. Nice to meet you.
Her name is Karen. Oh, wait, don't put your feet on there, please, because that's connected to the computer. Danny wants to start her own podcast. Danny, oh, yes. Oh, your school's supposed to do it. Okay, cool. We'll talk more about that in a second. I'm gonna finish my conversation with Karen though, and you could take a video of us. Okay. Karen, I think we might wrap up here.
Okay.
Maybe we'll bring Danny in for our little mini-sode in a minute, but your wisdom is incredible. Just being in your energy and working with you and hanging out with these stories and hearing the animals speaking through you has warmed my heart and soul.
Oh,
Um,
thanks, Kat. It's been really lovely being here with you. I love your energy and what you bring to your audience. Thank you.
oh, thank you, love. And if people want to find you, what's the website? How can they find you?
Yeah, KarenWickerson.com. Karen, WICKERSON.com.
Fantastic. And we will drop that all in the show notes. And if there's one last takeaway you want to share with our audience, anything we didn't cover, you want to be sure they hear.
Well, it's more of an emphasis. Please see your animals as your equal. They are
Mm.
sentient. They know what's happening. They are way smarter than we ever give them credit for. And they are wise. So please keep that in mind when you're interacting with your animals.
Oh, so good. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you,
listeners,
Kat. I really appreciate it.
if you loved this, please share it with a friend, subscribe, leave us a review, follow along. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for listening and keep listening to your animals. Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.